Good evening, students, and welcome to Victor Valley College's economics, that is micro and macroeconomics courses for fall 2020. The screencast-o-matic is designed to provide students a visual orientation of the basic activities that will be required on a weekly basis within the both online and remote econ courses. Typically, as students begin the course, there are questions regarding how to log in to the course, whether or not the course will be taught in Blackboard or Canvas, and additionally, what other resources will be required. So from this vantage point, and again, my name is Professor Henry D. Young. I am the professor for the econ courses. I am also the business economics and business real estate department chair and the academic senate president at Victor Valley College. So the first thing you would do as a student, if you're reviewing this, you've already potentially logged into Canvas. And these types of videos I will do on a weekly or bi-weekly basis and call them the professor's comments. This will also be a way that I will asynchronously discuss things about the course with students, also bring up, or shall I say, provide prompt type questions that students will be able to think about. And ultimately, I'll hold Zoom meetings occasionally, and that information is to be determined, where students can come in and actually ask questions via Zoom at different times during the semester. However, at this time, I will not require students to attend a Zoom meeting that they have to attend. However, it is going to be highly recommended. And in many cases, if you attend Zoom meetings, you will be able to earn what we call participation points that will help your understanding and learning in the class, and moreover help your grade. So as a student, what you're going to do is from your web browser, keep in mind now with Canvas that you should use Firefox or Chrome. If you have a Macintosh or a MacBook or any of the Apple products, the website that we will use for the textbook, called My Lab Mastering by Pearson, or in other words, My Econ Lab, does not function well with Safari. So within your Mac computer, you will need to download the Chrome app or URL, shall I say search engine browser, so that you can actually get into the My Econ Lab and functionally do your work. However, what I'm going to show you here in a moment is that to go into the publisher's website where 80% of our work is going to be deployed, you will have a seamless transition into that course, or shall I say into that information hub through Canvas. And I'll go ahead and continue. So the first thing you would do is go ahead and, of course, type VVC at your browser. Okay. Then from that, you're going to hit the Victor Valley College button. Now, of course, for you students, you can hit students if you'd like, but I would suggest you go all the way up to the top. And let's just go from a student's perspective. Okay. And then from this particular area, you're going to go in and go into Read More for Canvas. This is not necessarily what you want to do. So let me backspace here. That is not a proper link. I'm going to do it from this perspective. I'm going to go into, as you come into Canvas, you're going to just simply open it up, and then you're going to go into the home page and you're going to hit Canvas. right? And then you will need to, if this is your first time at VVC, you will need to log in. Now, this login information is provided to you when you log in to get any information from the college. As you registered, you establish what they call a username and a password, right? And so we have what they call a single sign-in, where once you log in here, this is going to be the same login that you'll use for WebAdvisor, the same login that you will use for Canvas and any other, username, password type entries that you will have at Victor Valley College. If you have any questions regarding this, you can call the help desk, and I'll provide a number for you here at the end of the screencast. So when you go into Canvas, you're going to see more than likely a couple of these, how should I call them, Canvas sandbox or shells or course shells. And I'm going to go ahead and just to demonstrate, again, this is going to be for both macro and microeconomics students. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into the, once you get in here, by the way, you're going to see this page, your dashboard, and your dashboard will have items that are clickable on the left, and then your courses that you're taking are going to be populated within this area here. And all courses at Victor Valley College are now taught on Canvas. So as I mentioned earlier today, or should I say in the video or the screencast, Blackboard is no longer used at Victor Valley College. So you'll notice it as you look at my courses, I have a number of courses that I'm teaching. And ideally, students, you will be able to identify that if you're in a face-to-face scheduled class, all face-to-face scheduled classes are remote. Okay, so in this case, this is my remote class for macroeconomics. I also have a remote class for microecon. You can tell here because it doesn't have an OL next to it. And then I have a remote non-face-to-face class on Wednesday night. Okay, so that's how you can differentiate. If you're in both of my classes, both macro and micro, then you will have to do what I'm doing here at least probably 4 to 6 times per week. That is 3 times for one class and 3 times for another to be able to follow along. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the macroeconomics class. So first thing you'll see here is a home page. You'll note I've given you a slight description of the class, and then I've said here that website included for the course is going to be Canvas and my Econ Lab. And you'll notice I've said here click left on my Mastering My Lab. Okay, so we'll get to that in a moment. On a weekly basis, there will be a number of announcements that you students will see. Usually there'll be one announcement. And this is before I've opened the class to you students. I'm just showing you this from the back side of this. You'll be given an announcement every week. And in some cases, I might give you an announcement 2 times per week. So it is very important that as you log into your Canvas sandbox, that you check the announcements. Always read the announcements. Critical information is going to be on the announcements page. And in some cases, you will see videos, as this video that I'm doing now is going to be linked to this announcements page. Okay. The other area is going to be syllabus. And this syllabus here is what you might call a changing document. Okay, there are some things here that as I go through this year, one of the key areas is that the exams, quizzes, and homework are all deployed from my Econ Lab, and these numbers could change throughout the semester. More than likely, the exam number is not going to change because I have exams already slated. The chapter quizzes and the homework could expand or reduce based upon the number of items that I choose to add or subtract. Then you will have a term project that is written. I say it's written, but it's really going to be word processed, of course, and you'll be turning it in through what we call turnitin.com in the modules section. And then there's going to be some chapter discussion forums, and these are forums that are mandatory and required. As you read down through the syllabus, you'll find some key information. One, in terms of the discussion boards, we have 2 types of discussion boards. We have a general discussion board, and then we have what we call a substantive discussion board. And the substantive discussion boards are generally going to be those boards that are asking you things regarding your term project. In particular, inquiries or prompts or questions regarding APA 6th edition, which is the other manuscript that you will need to purchase. Now, if you don't buy APA, you can also go to a website that I'm going to add in this page here called Purdue OWL. One of the main reasons for the Screencast-O-Matic is that some students are asking about the book. Keep in mind that anytime you take a course at Victor Valley College, all you have to do is go to the VVC homepage, click Student, and go to Rams Bookstore. And then you'll have the opportunity to actually select your course, the professor that it's with, and it'll give you the exact books that you will need. Now, in this case, when you go to the website there for your books, you will notice that the APA manual is not listed at the Rams Bookstore. It's very important that you read your professor's or your instructor's syllabus to see if there are any additional resources that the bookstore may not be aware of. In the discussions, these are going to be items that you will do. As I mentioned, I'm not going to say that they're going to happen every single week in the very beginning of class. You're very busy with discussions because I want to drive home the value of repetition. I want to drive home the value of treating your classes with priority. Thus, discussions are going to have a specific date, and I'll show you some more information regarding that. Discussions cannot be done late. All right, and if you miss a discussion before and you don't get it done before the time that is required, then there's a 20% deduction for every late discussion. Okay, now again, the way I assess the 20-point deduction is if the discussion board is due by 10 o'clock p.m. on Sunday, and then you do the item at 10:01 on Sunday, there's a 20-point deduction. So that deduction is not going to be a day deal where you'll have 24 hours and then I'll have to measure 20% by the number of hours that the student is late. Again, if the discussion board is due at 10 o'clock p.m. on a certain date and you do the discussion board at 10:01, then it's 20% reduction. The point is that you don't want to miss the discussions. And it shouldn't be an issue either because you get an entire 7-day period generally to do your discussions. Now, it's very important that you are mindful of when the discussions are actually required due. The other area that's going to be important is this My Lab and Mastering component. This is where your My Econ Lab is going to be accessed. So on a weekly basis, you want to make sure to obviously view the announcements for the week. You can always review the syllabus to remind you of things that are required. Again, this is somewhat organic. The syllabus may change in terms of assignments that are going to be added and or subtracted. I want to give myself and say this to students with some flexibility because if you're in a remote macro or microeconomics course, then we are going to do some Zoom required attendance meetings. And so in that regard, I will be adding those the points that are related to those Zooms that are required for Zoom, for say remote classes in particular, when they will be offered. Also, later on, I am going to offer office hours, and I'll specify for you when those office hours are going to be, where students can actually come into a Zoom meeting, and I will provide those Zoom time slots for you. Okay? So again, these are things that you're going to be able to find in the announcements, and thus why it's so important to read your announcements on a weekly basis. At least view them once or twice, maybe even 3 times per week. Now you might say, well, Professor Young didn't put up an announcement on Monday of this week, so I'm sure he's not going to put up a new announcement throughout the week. Not true. If I put up an announcement could go up Monday, it could go up Wednesday, it could go up Friday. I will never put an announcement up on the weekend. Keep in mind that if you email me during the course, it is very important that you don't email me on weekends. I say this with all due respect, but I do have a family. I have a daughter that is in school. I have a wife, and I have a life. Finishing up my doctorate degree in the next 3 weeks, and so I have academic things that I'm doing on the weekend. So if you email me anytime on Friday after 5 p.m., then I'm probably not going to be able to respond back to you until Monday. So this is very, very important. Keep that in mind, because I typically will get a number of emails and some students complaining, well, the professor didn't email me back. Well, remember, I will refer back to this video, which students will be able to see and review over and over again. So emails that are sent during the weekend will not be answered until Monday. This is anything after, I would say after Friday, 5 p.m. Okay. The other thing in this case is that if you do email me, you want to email me through this inbox here that's located on the Canvas page. You will have the option of emailing me through Outlook through the VVC email system, but it is not real reliable. So any emails related to the class should be sent through Canvas, because then I can actually view them. And you'll notice I have 17 emails. Actually, there's 3 emails from this upcoming semester. I have emails here from the summer session as well. Okay, and then you might say, okay, so where's my work on a weekly basis? And what I'm going to do here is so that you can see this from your vantage point. So I'm going to go and view this from a student view so that you're not confused. So you'll notice as a student, you have 3 items here that you can get into: the home, which is this page, announcements, syllabus, modules, discussions, my lab and mastering, grades, and Office 365. So you will notice that I do not have the Confer Zoom link here, because as I mentioned, some of your professors use what we call the big blue button to drive their Zoom meetings. I don't use the big blue button. I actually develop a meeting through the Zoom program, which allows for students to use an update, or should I say a password, to get into the Zooms, and it gives me greater functionality in that case. Yeah. So once again, class, I want to reiterate the textbooks for the course: Macroeconomics if you're in Macroecon, Microeconomics if you're in Microecon, within your sandbox, depending upon which class you're in. You will see that they're called a My Econ Lab and eText, and it's 7th edition. And it says access card only is alternative ebook option. Now, if you're doing this, if you're reading this, and it's Sunday and you're preparing for the class and you say, hey, I'd like to go ahead and get started working on the course, but I don't have maybe money to purchase the book or the access code right away, what you'll do in this case, and bear with me, I haven't gone through this from your vantage point. I do apologize. You're going to go into My Lab and Mastering. And you'll notice here, you're going to open My Math Lab and Mastering. And when you do that, it's going to prompt you to develop a password and a username. And then it's going to give you the option to, when you do that, it's going to ask you if you're paying. And if you're paying at that time, then you can obviously put in your credit card or your debit card. In this case, vouchers will not work. Okay. However, if you go to the bookstore can sell you the access code for the textbook according to the class that you're in. And if you have a book voucher, that will work in that case. And then you'll be able to log into the Mastering or My Econ Lab. And of course, you'll go through this and accept. And in this case, the only reason this is not populating properly is because I haven't opened the class for students to register. And I'll do that right away. Okay, so this is the process in terms of going through and going into the class. I will change this link here, and on my second video that I'll do, you'll be able to see this. Because once you get past the screen, it's going to ask you for a username and a password, and then you'll see your course. It will be automatically synced to this Canvas course, so you won't have to do anything else. There won't be a access code or anything like that. It's automatically synced to your Canvas course. Okay? Let me leave the student view, and I can show you what it'll look like. So when you hit Open My Lab Mastering, you're going to see a page that looks like this. So keep in mind that in this course, you are required to have access to the My Econ Lab. When you go through your registration process, it will give you 14 days to use the website free of charge. But then after 14 days, you won't be able to access any of the homework, quizzes, lecture interactives, or any of the assignments that are required for the class. The only thing that you will be graded on in Canvas is the discussion boards and any Zoom-related items that I will hold. Those items will be scored, or shall I say, accessible through Canvas. Okay. And so other than that, that's an introductory video for the courses. I hope this helped. Again, keep in mind that if you do, once you get into Canvas, if you have any questions, you can email me. The only other thing that I want you to draw to your attention or bring to your attention is in the syllabus area. It does say here that emails must be sent to henry.young@vvc.edu. Okay, so I'm going to link this to our Canvas shell is what I'm going to do. Moreover, I'm going to leave that. You have the option of either emailing me through the inbox is what I would prefer, or you can email me to my Outlook web email address. However you do it, keep in mind that you must allow 24 to 36 hours for response time. So a lot of times if students have questions before they're taking their quiz or when they're taking their quiz, they might assume that the instructor or me or any other instructor is sitting on the computer at that time. So it would take a minimum of 1 day before I get back to you. Okay, and in some cases it could take 36 hours. So it's important to be very patient in that case. Now, in the instance that a student has an issue getting into maybe My Econ Lab or gets kicked out of the lockdown browser when he or she is doing a quiz, I typically get back to you a lot quicker. But keep in mind that after 10 o'clock p.m. I don't answer emails. So this is why you'll notice that all of our assignments are typically due by 10. And then once again, if you email me on Friday, then you won't get a response back until Monday. But I do want to bring to your attention, just in terms of policies, that because this doesn't always work with students' timing. But as your instructor and professor, I have various duties, and I'm not sitting at the computer, 24/7. Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. I hope this screencast-o-matic helps. And again, welcome to Economics at Victor Valley College. Have a great evening.